Africa, still on the most recent coup, Niger's ruling junta and civil society groups called on the nation to mobilize in the capital on Thursday to fight for the country's freedom and push back against foreign interference. Mahama Sanusi, interim coordinator for the M62 civil society group organizing the protests, told the Associated Press AP that they are talking about the immediate departure of all foreign forces.
Well, the march falls on the West African nation's Independence Day from its former colonial ruler. And as anti-French sentiment spikes, protests are expected throughout the capital, Niamey, to push back against foreign meddling. The coup has been strongly condemned by Western countries, many of which saw Niger as the last reliable partner for the West in efforts to battle jihadists linked to Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State group in Africa's Sahel region.
Well, record has it that France has 1,500 soldiers in Niger who conduct joint operations with its military, and the United States and other European countries have helped train the nation's troops. In an address to the nation on Wednesday, the new military ruler, General Abdurrahmane Tiani, lashed out at neighboring countries and the international community and called on the population to be ready to defend the nation. Niger said Chiani will face difficult times ahead and that the hostile and radical attitudes of those who oppose his rule provide no added value. He called harsh sanctions imposed last week by the West African bloc known as ECOWAS illegal, unfair, inhumane, and unprecedented.
ECOWAS has also threatened to use force if ousted President Mohamed Bazoum, who remains under house arrest, is not released and reinstated by the 6th of August. In a closed-door meeting on Wednesday, dozens of people from civil society organizations, professional groups, and trade unions spoke with the coup leaders about their vision for the country. Sanusi from M62 was at the meeting and said the junta talked about their priorities to the nation, including securing it from violence. But another civil society member at the same gathering, who did not want to be named for security reasons, told AP they left feeling concerned. They had a strong impression that the French military was going to be ousted soon and that members of civil society groups would help the junta do it. But then you wonder, is that something to celebrate or one to be bothered about?
Meanwhile, one of the officers behind the coup in Niger, General Salifu Modi, visited Mali on Wednesday and met with officials from the country. Modi and his delegation attended a meeting with Colonel Massimi Goita, who seized control of the landlocked West African country nearly 3 years ago. Western countries fear that Niger will fall under Russia's influence after the coup, especially as Mali has welcomed up to 1,000 fighters from the Wagner Group. Obviously, the battle over Africa continues, even with Africa severing ties with France.
Burkina Faso and another military junta-led Mali have taken the unusual step of declaring that foreign military intervention in neighboring Niger after last week's coup would be considered a declaration of war against them too. Part of the frustration in Niger and its neighbors over government's weaknesses in addressing corruption and the threat from Islamic extremism has been aimed at France, the former colonizer of present-day Mali, Guinea, Niger, Burkina Faso, and others in Western Central Africa. Russia has quite well used the opportunity by framing itself to African nations as a country that never colonized the continent, winning support in Mali and other African nations for Moscow and the Russian mercenary group Wagner.
Still on Niger's coup, in one of few addresses to the West African country since seizing power from Niger's democratically elected president a week ago, General Abdurrahmane Chiani warned against foreign meddling and military intervention against the coup, even from Mali's declaration that foreign intervention in Niger would be considered a declared war against them as neighbors shows at least one thing, that the battle over Africa and every form of neocolonization is not encouraged anymore, which should be pretty clear at least after Africa's independence. The one thing it shows is Mali saying the continent can handle its own business. In all of this, what's to be expected in the coming days and weeks, we can never say for sure, but we'll certainly bring you up to speed with updates to this report.